I wanted to put two ideas together. It was raining the other day, and this might not be the best idea, but it was just an idea. What about everybody, where I was at, they all gathered in the corridor waiting to have a part of the rain, because nobody wants to get wet. So they all gathered in the little hallway right there in the big room to keep from getting wet. So I said, hey, let's come up with a rain jacket in a can. Somebody invent that. So this is like an invention. Plus, my mind was just flowing with some ideas today. So they had, you just spray this on, like, take your glasses off, of course. But you just spray it on. So it keeps you dry. It might feel kind of sticky, so I'm not sure if that would be the best thing. But, it ought to be a real thing because you got this stuff you can get. It's like hand lotion. I've never used it, but I've seen people use it. But it's like you put it on your hands, and then if you work on cars and get motor oil, grease in the parts, it's like liquid glove. Then you can wash your hands because that liquid glove's on. So you just kind of make the same thing um, for rain jacket. I have a buddy of mine that he let me take a picture of him covered in a looks like a trash bag, so he wouldn't get wet when he went out in the rain. So we was having a good time talking about the rain and rain jacket in a can. So it got me thinking. This is how my mind just kind of flows. It got me thinking about Mars, or I seen Mars today, and this is February the 18th, 2021. So we've actually launched a little satellite, and I seen this guy talking about it, and he says the satellite goes down and it goes into the Mars and it lowers a vehicle by a rope, and it doesn't even lower it all the way to the ground. It lowers the vehicle all the way to the ground, then it releases it, and it flies off till it runs out of power and just crashes somewhere. So it's a one trip to Mars. And he said if they're doing a different type of technique now, that they could actually find remnants that life might have been in Mars, and it would kind of spook everything, you know. But just go a step further. Used to, the sun would be here, kind of where my nose is. And people believed that all the planets rotated around the sun and just kind of sat there in space. But the sun is moving through space, and the planets are moving around the sun, and they're going. They just keep going. There's no ending. So it just shows you how huge the universe is. So if there was, we have to have the sun to have life. So they're saying on Mars, if they had found dead things around the sea, where it used to be water, and they found like bones or skeletons or plant life, that they could have life on Mars. And the gravitational pull could have been different at one time, and they're saying the conditions that cause life on Earth could actually cause life everywhere. Different, no telling how much, but it had to be just right. So that would kind of make people think, wow, there's actually aliens out there, and their systems could be a lot older than ours. But just think about it. If the sun is a shooting comet, you know, but it's not as fast as like the little comets are real fast because we see them go. So the sun's moving and we're drawn into the earth, the sun's gravitational pull, and we're being pulled through space like a big old comet solar system. So at one time, if there was another planet out there, some of the things that are on Earth that we can't explain now, or that's on Mars, might have actually been somebody else's Earth, and we could have pulled it from their sun as we came through, and maybe some people have said that Earth come from Mars. You know, I've seen that one time. There was a bunch of people on Mars, and then they went to Earth, and it was kind of sci-fi. Um, they said they kind of created life by putting all their life force, but that's like science fiction. But some of these ideas could be. Um, I think somewhere a long time ago, uh, like Mysteries of the Unknown. There's like they used to be like giants, and you still find these skulls. Well, some people believe that every so often this planet would come close to us, and these people came down, and we're the product of you know um, we worked better, and we were better slaves than who they had with them. But that's another theory. But anyway, just think, there's no telling. Just like it rains here, it rains there, it snows in Texas, and you never know. Like people's lives this day and time, there are some old people, but it's very rare. So 120 years, say about every 20 years, people change, technology changes, but everything that's here is still was old ago, a long time ago. Things were still here. It just wasn't called what we do it now. But money, civilization, it's been here, and it just changes every 20 years. So the whole universe. And one guy, I can't remember the name, but he started getting worried, and he seen poison everywhere, and people used to have lead in their fuel. So he said, well, this is killing people, having all this lead poison and the pollution in the air. And he's one of the main reasons, I believe, they took lead out of gasoline and made it lead free. And it didn't run as good at a while, but eventually it got better. But he, scientific approach, and they didn't like him because, he was messing with guys making money. But he figured out um, pretty much Earth was about 4 billion years old. So 4 billion years. That's a long time. And we're relatively new to the universe, and the universe keeps expanding. So the Earth is limited by its space. As far as I know, it's not really expanding on a exponential scale, and they're saying it can expand and then pop. So everything's kind of crazy. You never know. So the rain jackets in the can, and then going to how Mars might have life, and then that show with the guy who went to the Martian, and he was on there, and then they had like a big pyramid. You never know all this stuff, and then you got all this sci-fi shows, and China just launched their first. Well, maybe not first, but they launched a satellite to the dark side of the moon, which could even answer more questions. So there's just so much stuff going on, and then everybody's scared of artificial intelligence, but everybody's working on it. A lot of companies. I was laid off probably back in September. Artificial intelligence, well, it was a computer program that eliminated a third of the workforce. So just by making things more efficient and being able to find the information they needed in a timely manner, they couldn't justify the manpower. So 200 people were eliminated out of 600 something. So a third. And that's just a computer program. I can't blame them. If you had, say, 200 people making 30,000 a year plus 20,000 that the company paid for insurance, and then they had to supply a workplace So 200 times 50,000 is in the millions, and you can pay somebody $200,000 for a computer program to save you 5-6 million. Who wouldn't do that? You know, even though it's 200 people that are displaced workers. So anything's possible, and that means you can do anything you want to do. So you know, if we can send a satellite to Mars, people can put satellites on the backside of the moon, and we can figure out where we're going, then we should be able to survive this pandemic going on right now. That's just small chump change. We're gonna have to have sacrifice anytime you learn something. So I studied for my life insurance, and I passed it. Now I'm studying for commercial, but it's different when you're learning something new. You have to kind of get to it. Anything you do, but once you do it, then you kind of know it, or you've been through it. So let's see what happens next. See what we can invent with rain jackets in a can, and see what we find on Mars and what we find on the moon. Who knows? Stay cool.